What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the movie breakdown and review powered by Showcase Cinemas. I am your host, Klepcx, and I'm here with two of my homies. We go way back. Nerd fandom to the death. I got my man Mayhem Madness here. And I got my man DJ Go, Fan Man Podcast. What's going on, guys? How y'all doing? How y'all
How's it going, Klep? What's up?
We're here to talk about something that's like going crazy on the internet right now, in kind of a negative and kind of a positive way. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. We're going to review it. We're going to break it down for all of you so that you guys can understand where we're coming from, because there's a lot of mixed things out there, and I know a lot of you are like, should I check it out? Should I not check it out? Disclaimer, we're not here to steer anybody from seeing anything. That's not what we're here for. We are here to give you our experience with the film, let you understand where we're coming from. It may work for you, it may not work for you. Also, disclaimer number 2, there could or may not be some possible spoilers in our discussion here while we're breaking things down and talking about. We'll try our best to avoid things that are, blatant spoilers, because that's not what we're about. We don't like to spoil things. But if you would rather step away, do so. Go to showcasecinemas.com or their app, buy your tickets, your popcorn, your snacks, and all that fun stuff, and then come back, watch the video, and then chat with us below. So, without further ado, gentlemen, are y'all ready? Are y'all ready to talk about this? Okay, so let's break down the story, how it all began, right?
Yep.
Peyton Reed, one time in 2022, I think it was like December, he was talking to EW, Entertainment Weekly, for those who don't know, and he was saying that a lot of people were looking at his film as like a palate cleanser, meaning whenever they have like an Avenger level event, bad things happen, they go to the Ant-Man films to kind of bring us that lighthearted comedy and make us feel better and warm and fuzzy and kind of just reset things for us emotionally. He said no more of that. No more of that. He wants an Avengers level Ant-Man movie. Is that what we got?
No.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I mean, let's see. My one thing about this film, I'm going to give you my take on what I think about the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. I feel like, was Peyton Reed the right guy to do this film? I get it. He comes from a lengthy, list of films, but nothing of this magnitude ever. Not even from Ant-Man 1 to Ant-Man 2. I mean, this guy did Bring It On. You know what I mean? He did
American Classic.
He did The Breakup. He's doing more lighthearted family romantic comedy type things, which was good for the Paul Rudd portion of this epic film or superhero extravaganza, as you would call it. And he had a great idea. I understood, and I connected with him when he said that he wanted to do an Avengers level type of Ant-Man film, because for a long time he's just been kind of like a character that nobody really takes seriously. So, okay, cool. Let's get an Ant-Man that's a Avengers level event. I just don't feel like he executed it the way it could have been had they had put it in the hands of someone who could take the Ant-Man to that level. And that's not knocking him at all, saying that he's not a great director, because he's a professional. He's been in the game for a very long time. He's done things. He did Ant-Man 1 and 2. You know what I mean? But I think when I watched this film, and I was talking to Nick about this, how I said, you ever like when you're in school and you got to write like a big paper, not like, middle school stuff. I'm talking like high school level, where you're like, I got to write an essay. I got to write something that speaks, my level of knowledge in going forth until like college. And instead of putting it in your own words, you kind of go read through the book and you take portions of the paragraphs and then just put it in your own words. That's how I feel when I watch this movie. It's like you wanted to make that movie, but did you have the creative, artistic imagination to bring it to life without carbon copying? That's how I feel when I watch this film. And I had fun, but I feel like the beginning of it is a little too cookie cutter for me. There's a lot of things in it that don't even belong there. Like, there's a lot of cameos in this thing that I think are forced. Like, I don't even feel like, Bill Murray should even be in this movie at all. And like I said, he's in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. He's in the trailer. And it's been all over the trades that he was going to be in the movie. But I feel like his I don't know why he's in this movie at all. He didn't do bad.
To distract you from the rest of it.
But good point. I didn't understand why he was in this movie at all. I also feel like I hear a lot of people talking about the CGI and how bad it is and how it's just it's whatever. But think about when we didn't have the access to even do this kind of stuff ourselves, or we didn't have the access to see how it was done. And the fact that I watched a lot of interviews with Paul Rudd and the rest of the crew and cast, and a lot of them were bragging about the thing called the volume. For those of you who don't know what the volume is now a new technology that these filmmakers are using to kind of help the actors put themselves in the world. So it'll be like a big room, and it's all LED screens that kind of show you a simulation of what you're supposed to pretend is there.
Like Favreau's Mandalorian dome.
Yeah, so now it's like seeing that and knowing that that's there tricks my mind when I'm watching it. The disbelief is already out the window because now I know how it's done. Mm-hmm. There used to be a time when special effects wasn't right in our faces, and we were like, wow, how they do that? Mm-hmm. But now they're showing you everything. Mm-hmm. Now you go to the movies and you're like, oh, not only have I seen it before, I know exactly how they do it, and I can go home on my computer and do it myself. I just feel like the BTS of things is now so exposed that you go into these movies breaking them apart because it's like you have movies like Avatar, Way of the Water.
Yeah, but the difference with that is in a movie like Avatar, you have completely computer-generated background and environments with completely computer-generated characters on top of it. This you have real people. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you want to complain about the special effects, go back and watch Spawn. Go back and watch Power Rangers the movie, and then just let that part go. But yeah, the special effects and the way it looked were not the issue at all with this movie.
Yeah, and then I want to talk about the quantum realm. The quantum realm for me, yeah, we talked about the Star Wars thing and how it's very cookie cutter. It's very like all the way down to the Imperial Army that's standing on the platform. Like it looked. Like at some points, I was like, Kang reminds me of Vader right now. Like it's very, very Star Wars, and I just feel like the design. And they interviewed the guy who did the design for the Quantum Realm on the red carpet, and they were praising it and asking him how do you come up with things like this. But it just to me, I just feel like that part of the movie, the whole Quantum Realm part, could have been done so much better. And that takes away from what this movie should be. And the way that these characters are forced into the storyline, it's like everything is being done just so that the whole family can play. That's it. It's like not everyone needed to be there. Hank Pym didn't need to be there. I get it. He's a marquee character. We all know Hank Pym. We know Michael Douglas. But did he have to really be there?
I felt like he did.
To move this story forward. He really didn't need to be there.
In a way, though, he kind of did because he didn't know anything about what happened to Janet while she was down in the quantum realm. I felt like him being there and him hearing that, she had a relationship with somebody, or she did whatever she was doing down there. He just thought maybe she was down there not doing anything, just stuck wandering around. But it made more that he's seen what she was doing down there.
But that was later on in the film. What I'm saying is like overall going into the movie when you're watching it, like, yeah, we think that Hank Pym needs to be there because, yeah, he's been in the last two. Mm-hmm. He's a pivotal character in Scott Lang's life. But as the movie kind of went on, his role was very minimal. Like, he shows up at the dinner table and he has a moment. And then the rest of it is like, he's like fun-loving and jokey. And it's just like, he was very hard in the other movies. You know what I mean? Like, he was a little more grounded in reality about things. And then the whole Ant thing at the end, I don't want to give too many spoilers, but the whole, you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Like, I know he needs to be there because he's a marquee character. I mean, like, he's on the poster, but
he's a founding Avenger.
Yeah, but what I mean, storyline-wise, it feels forced to put him there.
Not really, though, but also he never, if you think about it, he'd never been down to the quantum realm. He hadn't seen anything about it.
I am 1,000% with you. What I'm not saying that he shouldn't be there. I'm saying the way that he's there just doesn't make sense.
So I think you guys are missing the bigger problem with all this. The problem isn't Michael Douglas.
No.
The problem isn't Peyton Reed.
We haven't even gotten to the meat.
The problem is the overall plan for this movie. And this is going to be something that people are going to have to get used to going forward, because here's your problem. You're launching a new Marvel phase. Mm-hmm. And your cupboard is so bare now that you're relying on the second Ant-Man to launch your big bad. Mm-hmm. That's a huge issue. You're going into a phase with a bad guy that not a lot of people know. Your normal, Uncle Tom and Aunt Grace, they don't know who Kang the Conqueror is. They might have known Dr. Doom. They might have heard of Galactus before. Magneto, even anything like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
No one knows who Kang the Conqueror is if you don't read the books. So you're launching an unknown character who's supposed to be a big bad, who doesn't appear that big bad in the movie, right? And you're going into the quantum realm, which is something that even, I don't care who you are, even if you're the most die-hard Marvel comic reader, you were not pining when this whole thing started for a quantum realm movie. Nobody cares. So it's just lazy.
So, go ahead.
Like, even saying about that, like, you're bringing out, for people that do know the comics, you're bringing out a big bad like Kang the Conqueror to go against Ant-Man. It doesn't really.
So this goes to my point that I was telling you about earlier. This is my new point. And all you guys, make sure you listen, open in your ears, and hear me loud and clear when I say this. Marvel is no longer making movies for the casual fans anymore. And then when I say the casual fans, I'm not talking about comic book, the ones that aren't comic book fans. I'm talking about the fans of the MCU. If you are not in this and have not been a part of this since 2008, well, you might miss the bus, because now these movies are continuing a storyline from a point in, it's not starting from the beginning. It's starting from 10 years after. It's starting from Endgame. It's starting from...
And your MCU fan doesn't know the people coming down the pike. Your Iron Man is gone. Your Captain America is gone. Your Thor is kind of dying out. People, the average person doesn't understand who, Kang the Conqueror and Nova and Warlock, and if they went if they end up going into space, they do like Shari or whatever, the Brood, all this crazy stuff that's coming down the pike or could be coming down the pike. People don't know it. It's not as accessible as, hey, Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, the guy in the metal suit. That's all over with. Yeah, you're in weird territory now, and it's not all gonna translate to film real well. Case in point.
So let me. We've beat this thing up. We've beat the hell out of it. So let's talk about the pros, and I have a lot of pros because, like we said, I feel as though Marvel is no longer making films for the casual fans. They're making this film for people like me who are diehard MCU fans, who know line for line, who pay attention to the subject matter and the tone and the way people say things in the background or the foreground. You know what I mean? Like, going into this, I knew exactly what I was going to get. I didn't walk out of there like, oh, I was upset. I didn't hate this movie. I didn't hate the movie. I found problems with the movie that I thought could be better. But overall, I walked out of there very satisfied and excited for what's to come. I'm like an old lady who watches her stories. I like my stories. I watch my stories. And there's nothing at this point that will sway me away from the MCU. I don't care if it's a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't care if it's a 2% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm going to show up all the time, and I'm going to watch the movie and take something from it for the next movie, because that's just who I am. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone wants to do that. And I feel like that time has passed where, can they continue to make movies that everybody can, can they continue to do that, or do they have...
can, but they need to hurry up and get going with a certain two groups. You cannot go forward with 3 different Captain Marvels and 2 different Ant-Mans and Wasp being your core Avenger team. Unfortunately, you lost Black Panther. I know that was part of the plan. You don't have that anymore. You need the Fantastic Four and you need the X-Men. Big problem with this movie is you have Kang the Conqueror, for people who don't know. His storyline is deeply rooted in the Fantastic Four. He's a descendant of Mr. Fantastic. So you don't have any of that setup before you implement this character, which is why I think he was the wrong character to go with for this phase. However,
really?
I do. I think Kang is too obscure to keep the train running. I think you need to go with something a more known commodity. That being said, talk about the pros. The biggest pro of this movie, Jonathan Majors, is a tour de force.
Oh yeah.
All I could think of after watching this movie was, man, I can't wait for Creed 3 to come out now.
not another Marvel movie. You can't wait for Creed 3.
But I'm gonna say that's all I can think of is I can't wait to see this guy chew more scenery. Yeah, because he was phenomenal.
Yeah, he's a badass.
He's a bad man.
I think how you were saying that, as you were saying that we need something that people can know more, like something that the two, either it being the X-Men or the Fantastic Four coming in.
It's not Ironheart.
that's more of the regular fan is gonna know that. I feel like kind of Klep said, like, if you're not invested into this, if you don't know any, like, if you're jumping into this right now, you're gonna be completely lost. You're not gonna know where it's going in. I feel like maybe a couple more movies should go down so the diehard comic book reader is still into this, and then sprinkle a little, not the whole X-Men, but sprinkle a little bit of, like, we'll throw like a Wolverine coming in or somebody, like maybe something that's gonna pull the casual moviegoer back into it and have them realize that, like, hey, like, I can jump in right here and watch it, and then maybe let me go back and watch some of the other stuff. But
the problem is you need to clear $800 million a movie basically to keep making these things, and you have to keep people interested. And I don't know if you can do that with a 13-year-old Miss Marvel and now a 16-year-old Ant-Man girl, whatever you're gonna do. You know, it's like I mean, something like that. That's what you use the Disney Plus shows for. You know, so you can, like, Kang should have been a Disney Plus show.
They're pulling back. See, all right. So
stretch the story out, make it make more sense.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, you guys are saying, like I said, these movies are not being made for the person who doesn't know any better. I know a lot of people who never watched Loki. So going into this, if you have not watched Loki, you may get lost because you're not going to know who Kang is. Yeah, you're not going to know who Kang is. You have to, and I mean, I don't want to say it, whatever, but yeah, there's a lot going on in this movie that you need to watch certain things because you're not going to know the stakes. Just the stakes. I think it's the stakes because you get all of that in Loki when you meet him for the first time, and then going into this, you're like, I mean, I saw what he did there and what the guy said, so you know what I mean. So
again, because you don't understand how bad of a bad guy he is if you don't read the books.
Yeah. But that's why I said that. It's like right now, the MCU right now is for the diehard MCU fan. But even, they're not making new
it's a
content.
complete opposite.
Even kind of without reading the books, if you jumped into Loki and you watched Loki and you listened to what He Who Remains said about what's going to happen if he dies, what's going to be unleashed, and then now you're jumping into this movie, it didn't pay off. It really kind of didn't pay off because
for me it did, because like I said, I love my stories, and it progressed.
But you like the story.
It progressed for me. It progressed.
As bad as He Who Remained made him this Kang out to be, he wasn't as bad as he was.
I beg to differ.
He was powerful, but he wasn't. He wasn't no Thanos.
He wasn't the worst of what's yet to come, but he was still badass.
Yeah. But it makes it into, oh, okay, he's not the baddest yet. Wait until the next movie comes out. We got even badder.
But that's the. I mean,
people are gonna get sick about that after a while.
They might. They probably might. I think after one more Jonathan Majors cameo, people will probably be like, all right, where's Avengers Secret War?
Yeah,
like,
when's he gonna put the shiny rocks on his hand?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just interesting. Like I said, if you're not in this, I don't think this is going to be fun for you anymore. Yeah. It's always going to be fun for me because I just love these stories. I love these stories and I love where they're going. So I had a good time. I want to talk about another thing about this film that I thought was great that a lot of people are not excited about, and that's the Scott Lang character. A lot of people are thinking that it wasn't an Ant-Man movie or it wasn't, and I feel like it was great progression based off of what had happened in Endgame with Scott about, you know, the whole losing time with his daughter and him kind of struggling with this being a better role model or hero in the eyes of his daughter. Like, he kind of wanted to just kind of stay away from that whole hero lifestyle and kind of be normal, but she didn't want that because she always saw him as a superhero.
Yeah. Even
before he was a superhero, she just always looked at him with bright eyes like, that's my dad, he's the man. Yeah. And she kind of, you know, that's where the stakes were for me, because it was almost like, you know, when you're with like your girl or you're with your kid and there's someone in front and they do something to your girl and you have to stand up and be a man. It was like no way for Scott to say, no, I'm not going to take Kang on, no matter how intimidating he looked. He knew he was going to get his ass whooped. Yeah. He knew, but for his daughter's sake, he had to act tough because that's how she sees him. Yeah. And I love that dynamic. I thought that was perfect for his character. So that was a huge plus for me, which kind of sold a lot of the story for me. the only thing that didn't work for me was the quantum realm stuff, but the core and the relationship between Cassie and her dad, and Scott's character, and then Kang, that's the stuff that had me like, okay, I'm ready to continue watching and go on to the next thing.
So yeah, as far as like the father-daughter relationship was good. I mean, I'm a father. I have a 20-year-old kid, so I understand how that whole thing, that was pretty good. And that was probably the biggest plus. I mean, because Paul Rudd's a good actor, and right now he's probably the most star power you have. And let's face it, he can keep playing Scott Lang forever, because even when he's 85 years old, he's going to look 55. So that's not a problem. He's not timing out anytime soon.
I don't know. He kind of looked like he was aging in this one.
A little bit. But he still, he can make a cooler sequel though. No one even knows. Yeah. I think again, it goes back to the plan. Like, you should not have the whole scenario where it's Kang the Conqueror versus Scott Lang Ant-Man should not be on Front Street. This should not be your centerpiece.
I think. Go ahead. I think
this movie. I liked this movie for how our progression with Scott. When we first seen him, he was getting out of jail. He was still kind of quirky. He was still doing his little everything he could to hit the role model to his daughter. Mm-hmm. Now we're in the point where he's taking in that fame. He's taking in the fame of saving the world. Mm-hmm. With everyone, but
he's using it as a security blanket.
He is, but now things are making it real for him. Like, it's kind of like, okay, I'm not playing superhero anymore. With everybody else kind of gone, I'm what's up next. And I liked how it kind of made him like put him into a more, like you said, into a more serious, like, it's either like I either have to do this to help my daughter, or like it's gonna get real. Like, I have something really to lose right here. And I liked how it kind of, now we're seeing him taking this role on of being Ant-Man a little more seriously. Mm-hmm. Not playing around, not like, oh, I'm doing, I got to jump in, I got to get this, and then this is all going to work out. Like, no, there's a possibility that something is not going to work out for me in this movie. And I liked how that showed that in this movie.
Yeah. I completely agree, and that's the parts of this film that actually work. It's like, but you got to get there. Like, you literally have to get past all that.
Can we start going over all the stuff that doesn't work?
I mean, we pretty much did. I mean, that whole first act is like, eh.
So for me, the quantum realm stuff, while it looked pretty, it was very generic. It was very Land of the Lost, very Lost in Space, very
Star Wars,
Treasure Planet, kind of, even almost like it was just very generic. All your inhabitants of the quantum realm were all very generic looking, Tuscan Raidery, goo, alien kind of things,
wrapped in garments of
ridiculous.
Cloth.
Your quirky character with the whole the
whole thing. And you had your
Jar Jar Binks in there, like.
Yep, and you had your quintessential faceless army guy, your stormtrooper. Kind of looked like you reminded me of. Remember that movie Megamind?
Yeah,
he puts the fish in the suit, kind of like that. So that all didn't work for me. Also, it didn't work for me. Marvel's starting to do this thing where a lot of people complain that the other side of the coin, the DC side, is ruining their own characters, and they did that. Marvel has this thing; they love to trash MODOK, and I don't know, between that stupid cartoon they did and changing the character completely for this movie, MODOK might have been my favorite part of the movie, and he was horrible, and that's a big problem.
I liked him. I liked how they changed him up. I know that when we seen the Super Bowl trailer that we see, or was it the Super Bowl? They made him. I forget which trailer it was, but I remember when they had it where he came out and it looked like Darren.
It was the second one.
Like Darren's face.
Yeah, it was the second one.
This one, it didn't. It didn't look like him, and I think that's what kind of made me like this MODOK a little bit more. It's like, oh, we're not just getting Darren's face special effect onto it. This guy has changed a little bit more with what's happened to him. This is. Inside, it's still Darren, but it's not him. Like, it's actual MODOK.
And they explain it all, and it kind of makes sense, but I would rather say, I mean, MODOK, I understand it's a floating head. It's goofy, but you could have done more with the character.
I think they did all right with making this interpretation of that character, because I never took MODOK serious, ever, even in the comic, even in the cartoon.
But now you don't have... But you could have went down an AIM route. You could have went, any of that stuff now.
Yeah, I know.
You burnt that entire bridge.
But then, I hear you on it. But that's a little convoluted too. Like, a lot of people, they're gonna see that and they were like, wait. Again, even though we know the character, casuals will not know where that guy came from.
No, well, kids do, because now, I mean, I know, like especially kids my daughter's age, you have 2 generations of kids now that grew up on MODOK cartoons, whether it was in Superhero Squad.
I mean the MCU version.
Oh, the MCU,
like,
yeah.
Knowing that he's Darren from the first Ant-Man.
Yeah, that was
a lot
kinda
of people would never put that together.
The other thing too, and I understand they had to do it because every movie does this, everything does. But the whole point of focusing the movie really was, it should have been called Janet Van Dyne Quantumania.
Yeah.
The focus of the movie was on a relationship between Kang the Conqueror and Michelle Pfeiffer in the quantum realm. It was so boring. I was falling asleep. I didn't care. I don't care about her 30 years in the quantum realm. I don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care. Show me the big bad. Tell me why he's the big bad. Have him fight the good guys. I mean, there's just way too much like forced backstory that no one was interested in this movie.
Or set it up. Or even set up the bad guy. Like, you think of what made the first Phase special with Thanos. Like, we knew we were getting our stories, but we knew in the background something was brewing.
Yeah.
This
one, it's kind of
you
just like
breadcrumb here and a breadcrumb there. Now it's just like
I'm Kang. Start this phase, but have our bad guy here, but he's gonna come back. Like, we needed more of him getting his plan together. If we were gonna get Kang, let's get like him disrupting stuff. Not like, oh, here he is. This is him. No, come back. This is not the one that we need. Like, it wasn't. Yeah. It kind of just threw us right into it. Like,
I expect them to kind of go more like the Kingpin in Daredevil season 3 kind of, where he's like, I'm gonna mess with this, and I'm gonna take this away from you, and I'm gonna ruin your life this way. And it wasn't like that. And then, not to give too much away, but the way, at least in my head, the first thought of what they're gonna do with this Kang thing is they're gonna use the laziest common denominator they can throughout these movies with him. And it's going to just be ridiculous. And you're going to, I think when the whole phase is done, you're going to look back on, yeah, they wasted that one.
So you and I think we talked a little bit about like the whole quantum realm and the whole time thing. And you brought up Janet's time, 30 years in the thing. Where are you when it comes to that? Because the time jumps aren't matching. No. I know we talked about how when they went home, that I feel like is already explained. I don't feel like there's any plot hole there. But I do find a plot hole in the fact that Janet Van Dyne said she was down there for 30 years and she looks like 40 years older.
That's because Michelle Pfeiffer still was.
No, but what I'm saying is that when she went in, she was younger and she said she was there for 30 years.
Oh,
but for Scott, 5 years was 5 hours.
Yes.
Make it make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. And then, they had to do the whole thing where, Kang basically says, basically, time doesn't count for me. That's their little get out of jail free card. I can do what I want with time. I'm Kang. I don't know. I mean, this isn't like a new thing, Yeah, the whole first
Kang, I get it. I get it. But Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, no, it definitely doesn't line up.
30 hours, that means she was only there for a day and a half. Not even.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. And, now she's like in her 60s or whatever. But, I mean, time travel in comic books has always been a weird relationship.
Think about it, we weren't time traveling. We were just going into the quantum realm. The whole time travel.
But they're using it as the quantum realm as it's your DeLorean. It's your cheat for time. It's your cheat for multiverse. It's your easy get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think even your hardest core Avengers comic fan or Marvel comic fan was not clamoring for quantum realm movies.
So I mean, listen. Overall,
the kids will like it.
I want to give my overall thought of this film. I think that Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania it's an entertaining movie. If you love Paul Rudd, you're getting a lot of Paul Rudd and the kind of Paul Rudd that you like or that you love. Everyone plays their part and they play it well.
Oh yeah,
I like Cassie. She's okay.
The kid was good.
New addition to the Marvel family. Michael Douglas is doing his Hank Pym. He's pimming. And,
I think with the ship was a little much, though. It was a little over the top. It was a little annoying.
Like I said, I don't even think they should have left him on the bench like they did.
They should have.
Like they did Lewis's boy in Revenge of the Nerds, too.
Where was Michael Pena in this movie?
We have Michael Pena. No, the other gentleman, the Russian guy. Is he Russian?
Yeah,
what is
Polka Dot Man.
Yeah, him, and we don't know T.I. Well, we don't know T.I. It's another story, but none of the ex-con guys were.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, it's an entertaining movie. It's still entertaining. The ending, I really enjoyed as a nerd, as a comic book fan.
The post-credit stuff?
Post-credit stuff. I mean, the overall ending, the third act is okay. It's not horrible.
No, it's just generic.
Yeah, it's
very generic.
It's not hard. Like that's the weird thing. You walk out of this thing like you feel like you're missing something, but you're not walking out like, oh, the hell with that movie. Well, not for me, anyways. I know you guys didn't.
No,
like
no, I didn't feel
mean,
that at all.
I just.
Yeah, I was indifferent. I was very bored at times.
I never got bored,
I
never was like, I will go back and see it again.
Oh, why won't I?
That's the crazy thing.
I won't go back and see it in the movie theater again. I'll wait until it comes up. But I never got bored, and I guess I didn't get bored because I knew Kang was there. I was waiting for what.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Kang being carried.
This movie was so unpalatable for me that I literally at one point in time went home and was like, I might watch Superman Quest for Peace to get the taste out of my mouth.
Oh my god. You see what you guys are driving people to do?
I'm gonna watch the fourth Superman movie. No, it was just, I don't know. I'll have to see how, it might be one of those things where once the phase is complete and once we get where we're supposed to go, especially if they bring some of these other characters they need to in, you might look back on it a little more fondly, but I think this whole phase with Kang and Secret Wars and everything is gonna be a mess. And I'm just not looking, I think I'm fatigued. I'm Marvel fatigued.
Nick, your final thoughts? My bad, Mayhem.
I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what we got with minor problems, minor issues I had in it. I'm looking forward to what's going to be coming next. But at the same time, I've went into these movies excited. I went into where we start. I went into Eternals. Liked the movie. Wasn't wild about it. I went into Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Excited. Came out. Liked the movie. Wasn't blown away. I went into Wakanda Forever. Liked it. Wasn't blown away. It's just kind of kind of getting to a point where it's like I feel that Marvel thinks that they're too big to fail at anything.
See, I don't agree with that.
I kind of feel that way too.
I don't agree with that.
So here's the other thing too. For me, like as a comic book fan, like I said, we've all been reading books our whole lives and stuff like that. So not everyone's gonna be happy with these. That's just the way it is. But give me at least my one moment. Your Avengers Assemble, your Thor taking out the Executor armor, the Iron Man's first test drive with the new armor, the Captain America fight in the elevator. Give me, you have your own moments like that. Your Mr. Fantastic cameo in Multiverse of Madness. I had none of that in this movie. I have no single moment where you look back and you go, yeah. There's no signature moment.
No, I agree with that. But to go with what you said about Marvel feeling like they're too big
to fail.
You got to understand that Marvel doesn't run the show. And, there's things going on in the trades right now where people are pulling back on Marvel content, Disney content, because of the overflow and too many things coming out at the same time. So the powers that be, they're on top of things and they're telling people we want this many projects at this time, at such and such, whenever. And I can understand how that kind of thing can get loose and fall from out of people's hands, and they can fumble something over here, fumble something over there, fumble something over there. So the quality of the MCU has kind of gone down the drain for a little bit. I don't think it's a problem of Marvel thinking that they could just throw anything at us, because at the end of the day, we all know Kevin Feige. We don't know him personally, but we know what kind of guy Kevin Feige portrays himself to be when it comes to these properties. We know that he cares about these characters and he cares about the fans. So I don't think that he would ever just sit on his high horse and be like, hey guys, don't take that. Give him that. Nah, I don't think that. I don't believe that at all. But what I will say in response to that, in my final thoughts, is that they say that you can't please everyone. You're never going to please everyone. But I like to think that Marvel has pleased everyone. They just never pleased everyone at the same exact time.
Yeah.
But there was a time I feel like there was. There was a time where they were.
No.
You're not leaving these movies there. These movies.
Hear me out. They haven't pleased everyone at the same exact time. Because there are people who may like one thing, and then a group of people who are like, it's trash. It's crap. I know people out there that don't like Iron Man 1. I know people out there that love Iron Man 1. I know
No
people
one
out there
thought-
that don't like Iron Man 3 who love Iron Man 3.
When you walked out of Endgame, nobody.
Well,
thought
Endgame
that
was
was
Endgame
and
was
it
its own
it was-
animal.
Yes, I know. It was.
Of course, the numbers talk for it.
It was its own thing. But with these movies that have been coming out now, you remember when you'd walk out of the movie theater and you'd see people all huddled together talking about it. I don't see that anymore.
Well, we're in the beginning of a new phase. You're not going to get that.
But
You're not going to get that.
You might get that if they do the Wolverine thing right. If they do the Fantastic Four thing right.
You're not going to get that right.
Yeah, you're not going to get that with
this
Kamala
is,
Khan
and this is not to
America
make
Chavez
excuses for
and
them. They have dropped the ball in a lot of places.
Big time.
My point is that Marvel has always been able to reach the masses, regardless if we all collectively said yay or you said yay and he said nay and I said eh.
I usually say nay.
At one point, we all have had that emotion where we were either with it or we weren't with it. But there's always a strong group of people that are and a strong group that aren't. What I'm saying is they have, at some point, touched everyone at one point.
Yeah.
And now we're in a phase right now where 31 movies in, you show me a franchise that has done that. 31 movies in, bro. And not one movie has been below $370 million at the box office, except Incredible Hulk, but we're not gonna. That's a different thing.
Black Widow.
All I'm saying is that I think people need to relax. Like, everything's not going to be a hit. Everything is not going to be a hit.
What you just said, I think the problem is they've set that bar so high.
Yes, and that's Marvel suffering from success.
Exactly.
Like everything. When you have an artist,
Happened to Star Wars.
the
too.
biggest names in the game, Jay-Z, supposedly the greatest rapper of all time.
Yeah.
He has stats to prove that, but there are still a high group of people that say he's not.
They have the Encore album.
They have the audacity to be like, no, he's not. I'm laughing at that. Like, but he has the stats. Marvel has the stats. Regardless if it's the worst movie or the best movie, their stats say we are the best. Look at the numbers. Regardless of if you hate it or you love it, people are trashing this movie right now. And guess what? They're going to show up at the next one.
Yeah,
They're going to show up at the next one. But my thing is that I just feel like people need to have a little more open mind about the things that aren't exactly the way we want it to be. Because this is not a perfect movie. It's not a perfect movie. But I would never be like,
yeah,
I won't stop going.
Exactly.
No, of course not.
If it's not good, I can say that it's not good.
Yeah.
But you will not see me say, hey, you know what? That next movie's coming out. I'm not going to see it.
No, the next one's Guardians.
I will be in those chairs.
oh yeah, everyone's showing up at Guardians.
Yeah, I will always be in that chair to see the next movie.
What's gonna happen if Guardians?
When it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
When it's also people are ragging on this one. Like I said, the kids are going to like it. You know, people are going to like it. It just wasn't for us. We have stuff to gripe about. It's what we do though. But when it's all said and done, it is not going to be the worst comic movie this year. Probably the second worst. So I mean, it's there's
I really feel like this movie's gonna do well because there's a disconnect.
Oh, my showcase was packed.
Mine was
This
too.
thing was
The
packed.
critics are saying that this thing is a 48%. The audience is saying it's an 85%.
That's ticked down.
It's already It's not gonna go down. It's only gonna go up. It's already at $100 million at the box office.
Oh yeah, of course.
But what I said to you, I said that anticipation doesn't equal quality.
No.
Because you could be lined up all the way down the block around the city the day of opening. Doesn't mean that you're gonna walk out and say that it's good.
Phantom Menace.
But it's yeah, but that movie did numbers.
Oh, of course.
It's gonna get legs.
It's gonna make the money.
I don't see this movie making any less than 300,000. I don't. I mean, yeah, 300 million. Sorry.
So it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, yeah. I don't see this movie making anything less than 300 million, and that's just it's just the nature of. If it does, I'll be very, very shocked. Ant-Man's not going to do Incredible Hulk numbers.
No.
Yeah. Oh, like Ang Lee Hulk numbers? No.
No, Incredible
Oh,
Hulk.
like Edward Norton.
That one only did like 270,
Yeah.
270, 260,
And Hulk's a tough
something
nut to
like
crack.
that. But I mean,
No, like I said, it's part of it looks pretty. There's a lot of 4-story stuff I didn't like, but the kids are gonna like it. I mean, people are gonna like it. Paul Rudd's very relatable. He's he's quippy and everything. People like Paul Rudd. It is what it is.
yeah. I mean, guys. I mean, girls, go check it out on your own. If you're even interested, if you've heard things that pique your interest, or if you're the type of person that you don't listen to anyone, you want to just go check it out on your own. Go check it out on your own. I mean, that's what I would do. I know that's what you guys would do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go check things out regardless of what people say.
And best thing about this was, even though I didn't like the movie, I used my Star Pass card, so I only paid like $3 to go see it. So it wasn't a total loss.
Star Pass card. This guy, he's a showcase goer. I think overall this movie is going to just go down to what you think of it. It's a little wonky in the beginning. Trust me, I'll give you that. It's a little wonky, but by the end of it all, there are some really great performances in this movie. One of them being Jonathan Majors Kang, who will be in Creed as well. He's amazing. His performance in this thing is very chilling, and it saves the movie, in my opinion. If they would have had, that's why I was like, I didn't mind Kang. If they would have had any other villain or anyone else play the villain, I don't think it would have been that strong, because he literally carries this entire movie. So yeah, guys and girls, let me know, are you interested in seeing this movie? Have you already seen this movie? Do you not want to see this movie? Drop a comment below, let us know, and until next time, enjoy the show.